Trashy, where we take a dumpster dive on this week's garbage people and a look at all the trashiest news stories. My name is Erica, and I'm your host.
My name is Cassandra, and I'm your other host. Hi.
Babes, I gotta be honest. I had 2 drinks 3 hours ago, and I think I'm drunk.
Oh, shit. Happy New Year. Or, whoops. What is... Happy Independence Day.
Happy Independence Day. My tolerance is just taking a nosedive.
That's fine. That's fun. I had a beer today already. Yeah.
Living.
Yeah.
Living a little, But yeah, it's but I've never been more hydrated.
Oh, sure. Well,
because I'm drinking liquid IV.
Liquid IV. Yeah, totally. You don't got to tell me, girl.
Which you'll hear all about liquid IV later, but
yeah, hear all about it again and again.
But those things are really great.
I was at Costco and they sell them there, and I was like, this price isn't as good. But you know what? I'm not even gonna get into it.
Not even gonna get into it. I had a Thursday though. I had 5 drinks over the course of
You're talking to someone who's a very seasoned drinker, so
that's the
5
thing.
Drinks.
Normally, like 5 drinks in an hour, I'd be like, yeah, I'm good. And that feels about right. I'm getting a little buzzed. Like I'm over the course of like a 6-hour evening. Ooh, I gotta cut out this rock and roll lifestyle I'm living. Terrible. But I got a little too high because I missed up the dosage on my delightful edibles. Because I was like, I'm not going to drink tonight. I'll just have some edibles. And then I was like, well, I'm just sitting around waiting for my friends because I'm sometimes early to stuff, most of the time early to stuff. And then next thing I know, I was both. I was a little high and a little drunk. And I was like, oh, I feel like a kid again.
Partying.
I went to a concert on Thursday night at the Avalon, and I saw a child that I've never been more jealous of in my entire life. Young man, 8-9 years old, little kid, was at this concert on their parents' shoulders. So already I'm like, fuck, I've never been little enough to be on someone's shoulders at a concert. I don't care about weight. I don't care about clothing size, but I'm like, I just want to be on someone's shoulders at a concert. And then
I think I grew out of being like shoulders after I was 4.
I'd have to get 3 giants and be like, split me amongst you, please. I
don't even play chicken in a pool.
No. Yeah, me neither. Yeah.
That's just that isn't for me. Those games aren't for me. I'm a Marco Polo kind of gal.
Yes.
Hear me coming.
Sloshing through the water. Yeah, kids up there, and he has light up shoes.
Oh God, I miss having light up shoes.
Light up shoes. Can you imagine?
I don't know why that doesn't still. Why wouldn't we have those as adults? Why not? They're fun.
I feel like, you hit a certain level of financial stability and you start to buy back your youth, like the things you didn't have in your youth in some way. Light up shoes. I never had light up shoes and I was so jealous of everyone. And now I'm like seeing this child. I was like, why don't I go buy some light up shoes?
They sell them on Amazon, but it's not quite the same. I think that these are just shoes that are constantly lit up. When you had light up shoes as a kid, every step you would take, you'd be like,
Yes. LA Lights, I think, was the name of the brand. I mean,
there was a lot of brands that did it. You could get these, I believe you said prior to coming on air, you could get these at Payless. And that's how I remembered, oh yeah, I had those.
Yeah, I'm jealous. I'm jealous of your youth. But anyway, I'm sitting there and watching this kid have the best time of his life in his light up shoes on his dad's shoulders. And I'm like, I spent 25 minutes learning how to do space buns in my hair and apply glitter eyeshadow, clinging on to the youth that this child just has so freely. Anyway, it was quite a humbling time. But I did have the bathroom attendant, lovely woman, tell me I looked very nice. And then another lady complimented my space buns. And I was like, I'm doing it. I'm doing it.
It's a great hairstyle. It's one of the things I miss about having long hair. And I don't miss much about having long hair. I usually just am happy with short hair. But space buns, but I can do little ones.
You can do little ones, yeah. It was a lot of trial and error. I'll say that.
If you watched my episode of All American, is that what show I was on?
Yes.
Hold on. If you watched my episode of All American, I knew it was something like that. I got a lot going on. Okay, sue me. I had one beer today. In fact, I want another one. Taylor! They put me in Space Buns in one of my scenes because my character was kind of quirky. And I was like, man, this is actually quite quirky for this show. But I don't know. I had braids in my audition, and like it really stuck with everyone who like had seen the audition. And so they're like, let's do Space Buns. Oh wait, hold on. Fuck. God damn it. My Siri thinks I'm talking to her. Girl, I'm not talking to you. Did you hear that whole thing?
I couldn't hear her, but she never knows her place.
Yeah. Okay. No, I'm not talking about you hearing her. I want to make sure you heard me.
Oh yeah, I heard you. Yeah. I never want to silence a woman, but Siri, shut up. Yeah, no, I heard you.
Shut up, lady.
Your cute Space Buns.
Yeah. Okay. Why you trash? I'm
Yeah. Well, I spent so much time trying to do glitter eyeshadow and then envying a child, and that's not even why I'm trash this week. But this is like a PSA for everyone. Yeah. And I'm trash because I'm literally trash. We last week rented one of those deep steam cleaners that, you fill with water in the solution, and you can do your couches and rugs and chairs. And I was like, oh, we
like from the grocery store.
Yeah. Like it was like a Home Depot, but yeah. But yeah, like one of those
furniture with those. I know about the ones you can do like rugs with, but it's the Rug Doctor.
So
the Rug Doctor.
It's a Rug Doctor. But we did a Rug Doctor, and then we have like velvet fabric on several pieces of furniture, and we did those, and we did our couches, and we got a new couch, so we were steam cleaning it too. The color of that liquid when it was like fill it with clean water, the solution, but the thing that we were dumping out, I was like, we're living in toxic waste. This is sludge. This is so scary and disgusting. And we don't spill food on it. We have the cats, but we clean up the hair and vacuum all the time. But giving it a deep steam clean, you'll realize what a piece of filth you are.
A friend of mine just talked to me about this recently, and they are like they kind of like stress clean, like obsessive clean kind of people. Mm-hmm. And they were even like, nothing humbles you quite like deep cleaning the couch.
It was like tar. I was like, we could have paved a road with this. Yeah, it was disgusting. But anyway, so I recommend my butt's dirty. My cat's butt's dirty. We're dirty. So I'm trashy because you just don't realize how dirty you are until you clean. So that's why are you trash?
Well, I anytime that a stranger tries to hold a conversation with me for too long, maybe like max like 15 to 20 seconds. Mm-hmm. And we're not like I'm not talking about like a bartender or a place where it would be appropriate to speak. Okay, look, here's what happened. Here's the setup.
Yeah. What's the setup?
I had to get some donuts, babe. I needed them.
Yeah, I get it. I've been there.
Not even vegan ones. Just like I had to get what I had to get. And because I'm not a fucking Rockefeller. I can't afford to drive to wherever to get whatever vegan donuts. I needed donuts, and I needed them fast. And so a lot of these like kind of hole in the wall donut places that are easy to get to are cash only. And I didn't show up prepared with cash because I thought to myself, in this economy, are you really still cash only? Like, you're down the street from a high school. And all these kids have phones, whatever, Apple Pay, but it was cash only. So first thing that this woman said to me was like, well, I can just give you your receipt and you can come back and pay later. And I was like, what? No. She's like, people do it all the time. I was like, absolutely not. Even though I was like, God, these donut prices for a hole in the wall are really inflated, and it might be okay for me to just like basically take these 6 free donuts because I didn't show up with cash. But I was like, no. She's like, we have an ATM on the other side of the building. I was like, okay, fine. I'm going to pay a fee that is equivalent in my mind to at least 3 donuts to get cash to then buy these 6 donuts. Well, I don't know, dude.
Right.
I don't know. I'm only human. Your couch was full of tar water and I needed these donuts. Okay.
We don't point fingers on this podcast.
This is supposed to make everyone has a story just like what I'm telling. Maybe it wasn't donuts, but there's been a story of like, you're just not thinking clearly and you just do what you got to do. Anyways, so I'm getting money from an ATM outside of a hole in the wall donut place. It's broad daylight. So I'm in Burbank. I'm safe. But there's two people sitting in a car parked close to the ATM with their windows down, not eating donuts. And one of the guys, this is the stranger in question who I'm like, got me all crazed and stuff, said, "How much does that cost?" And I thought he was talking about the ATM. So I was like, "What?" He's like, I need to get donuts. I have other things going on. I'm like, "What?" He said, "On your arm, how much does that cost?" I was like, he's talking about my tattoo. Which, by the way, if you're thinking about getting a tattoo, like, absolutely go for it, but like, don't get it places people can see, because they will talk to you. Sometimes they'll even touch it.
Yes,
ladies. That's the worst. Anyways, so how much does that thing cost? And I was like, probably like, I was guessing, I don't fucking remember, probably like $600. If I have like a half sleeve, it's probably expensive. And he's talking to me. This woman is like in the driver's seat. They're probably both in their like 50s or 60s, And I'm just like trying to get a desperation 20 out of an ATM to buy 6 donuts to take home to my husband, who he didn't ask for donuts, but I needed them so bad I couldn't fucking focus in the middle of my work day. So I don't have time to talk to you about this. Anyways, this conversation's going on for so long. Like, I'm talking like 30 seconds. Like, it was so long. And the whole time, because he kept asking me questions, I was like, someone is going to come up behind me and sucker punch me and knock me out, drag me out somewhere, and I'm going to get human trafficked. Yep. Why else would this conversation be happening?
Yep.
Why else would this happen to me right now? So I just like, I can't talk. I just am, I think I'm friendly, but like to speak. Yeah. To speak for this long outside of an ATM, outside of a donut shop about my tattoos was so like irrelevant, so weird. Like, I'm going to go ahead and say that they were breaking some social rules. Don't ever speak to someone at an ATM.
Yes,
like,
thank you.
That's weird, Yeah. And I was so paranoid that this was going to turn into an issue that, like, when I finally did go, "Hey, have a nice day," and got my donuts, I made 2 other stops on the way home and took a weird way home. Yeah. Because I was so convinced I was being followed, even though I wasn't. Yeah. But I was like, I've been marked. Like, I'm going to be human trafficked. Like, you're going to find me. You're going to find me on some weird cam website against my will. Like, because this guy's asking about my like, I don't know. Yeah. So it was so weird. And like, what part of that story makes me trash? Was it the donuts? Was it the ATM? Was it the fact that I can't speak to strangers? I don't know, but it happened. Yeah. And thank God I survived.
I had a moment yesterday. I parked on a street. It had some signage and it looked like I was in the clear. And so I'm walking. A lady rolls down her window and says, "Is it okay to park here?" And I said, I don't live in this neighborhood. I'm not sure. I'd thrown my hazards on. I was just dropping something off, coming back out. And she's like, "I'm just not sure." And she starts really drilling in and like grasping my attention. I'm on the sidewalk. She's in her car. And then I noticed that my shoe's untied. So then I just,
oh God,
popped down to my knees and I'm looking up. And then halfway through, like deciding to tie my shoe while speaking about parking signs with this stranger, I'm like, oh, somebody could easily just scoop me up right here. This was her distracting me. And then I just said, here I am on a platter. Let me just bend down because my shoe's not tied. I was like, yeah, Erica, you gotta be street smarts out here in this mid-Wilshire life. You gotta be street smarts,
I mean, you were essentially in a prone position, like.
I did read a thing this morning, though, that a woman do you remember in 2020? Well, do you remember how, like, all the time, all of these white women on TikTok are like, "I was almost human trafficked in Target." Yes. And you're like, no, you aren't, babe. Like, a stranger talked to you and asked you what directions the bathroom were, and they just happened to be brown. that you were not almost human trafficked. Like, it's so uncommon. It's almost always somebody that you know. It's like, well, it's just insane. But this woman, she was like one of the first kind of big waves of it, where she had a story where she was shopping at a Michael's, and these, she said these two people chased her and circled her car and all these. She had this whole thing, and she went viral on TikTok, and she was sentenced to prison. And because she had falsified, like, all the security cameras, like, said this didn't happen. These two people she accused of it, they were harassed and defamed and all this. And the judge also, it was a short sentence. I think it was only like 120 or 90 days, but the judge ordered her not to be able to have social media.
Whoa.
Or like quite some time. Like, basically the pro was like, you can't have social media. So she couldn't go on and just like double down, become the victim, all of these things. He like took that away from her. And I was like, great. Like, that's what should happen to all of you people. Like, yeah. Anyway, it was,
I didn't know you could take away social media from someone.
I think if you're, I think if you're a judge, you can just about damn well do anything in this country, it seems. So
yeah, but this is not policy.
Nope. But we are going to talk about a governor who kind of just does damn well what he wants.
You know what I thought of? So our first story comes to us from HuffPost.com. Mm-hmm. I'll let Erica read the headline so that I can just get out my bullshit.
Texas Governor Greg Abbott busted after falling for totally bogus Garth Brooks story.
What I thought of was, when you apply for a job at a Subway, they make you take like a math test. And really? This is not a joke. Yes, you have to take like a math and logic test in order to apply to work at a Subway. But a Texas governor or any politician, they don't have to do that.
No.
Because you'll hear this was pretty obviously like a fake story and fake, like, on a very openly fake way. It's like when they repost stuff from The Onion, and it's like, what do you not know that you don't realize that The Onion is always going to be fake? Yeah, it's satire.
Speaking of being human trafficked, my door just opened while we were recording, like phantom, and I was like, oh no, it's real. Somebody followed me home from Target today. But no, it's my tiny cat that just burst into the window. Real professional operation. I need just a quick break, dear listener and Cassandra, to kick out this little...
Let's take a break. Here's the second half of the first story.
So Governor Greg Abbott took to his Twitter this weekend, and he was duped by a satire website about sharing a fake news story about country music icon, Oklahoma's own Garth Brooks. He linked the story from a satire website called the Dunning-Kruger Times. And if those who are not familiar, Dunning-Kruger effect is the phenomenon by which someone least competent in certain subject areas overestimate their skills the most. So basically, if you're like, well, I'm pretty much an expert on that, means you're probably pretty bad. And people that are more skilled, let's say have a PhD in a subject, will be more humble about their abilities a lot of times. So anyway,
I think that I suffer from that.
Absolutely. I will read 4 Wikipedia entries and be like, do you guys want a dissertation? Do you want me to defend my thesis on this? Because I am an expert now. I could probably do knee surgery after reading this science.com article. But
I mean, like, just based on the fact that, like, like, we are constantly having to remind people that we're journalists. Like, is that
I think it's probably us being a little Dunning-Kruger. We've been Krugered a bit.
Sure.
Dunning-Krugered. But yeah, so basically the site itself states outright that it's a part of a network of parody, satire, and tomfoolery. And then adds, if you believe that this is real, you should have your head examined.
The headline that he shared was Garth Brooks booed off stage at 123rd Annual Texas Country Jamboree
in Hambleton, Texas. Because Garth Brooks recently stated that at his Nashville Bar and Grill, he will serve Bud Light. So thus has come under the conservative backlash against who knows everything. But the Jamboree isn't a real event. Hambleton, Texas isn't a real place. And, governor of the state just didn't seem to have any, flags raised. But to be fair, The only thing I will say about Greg Abbott, Texas is a huge state.
Texas is big.
A lot of places in Texas.
I would say, fine, you didn't realize that a Hamberston, Texas didn't exist. If you're the governor, though, you should know if there's 123rd annual of anything. The governor said, go woke, go broke. Good job, Texas.
Texas, for the record, loves Garth Brooks as much as anywhere. He sold out the 72,000 seat NRG Stadium in Houston and the 80,000 seat AT&T Stadium in Arlington when his tour visited the Lone Star State last year.
Yeah, Abbott deleted this tweet, but he didn't apologize or anything. I mean, hasn't Trump done this before? There's other these politicians don't not do this kind of frequently at this point. Yeah. And which makes me think a couple things. Either they definitely run their own social media, which I have mixed feelings about, or the people that they hire to run their social media are not they shouldn't be running social media, because it just feels like you can't make missteps. Well, you can make missteps like this. It just depends on who you are.
Don't worry. He may have deleted it, but a number of people captured and preserved it online forever, basically screenshotting it. For the record, as an OG Garth Brooks fans, I'm talking back in the day, sure. Garth Brooks has always been extremely progressive, hip to things, and has no place for bigotry. He's been very open about that his entire career. So he's not suddenly him deciding to be I don't give a shit, I'm going to sell Bud Light at his bar is not some radical stance. It's people that just aren't fucking paying attention. So
people are fucking stupid about this whole Bud Light. One trans Instagram influencer makes whatever this, you know what? I'm sorry. Again, we're not doing this right now, but I just want to say, if you banned Bud Light, you might want to look at all the other beers that Budweiser makes before you make that decision. Because a ban on Bud Light means that you also need to be banning Michelob Ultra. You need to be banning Stella from your life. Budweiser, I feel like that one's obvious, but maybe it's not.
Wait, Bud Light and Bud are related?
Yeah. I know.
There's a Bud dynasty. You're telling me that Bud Light is a Nepo baby?
Yeah.
Now I'm going to boycott it because of that. Nothing else. But.
Bass Pale Ale, Cass beer, which is South Korean beer. They own a lot of stuff. So you watch all these people oh, fuck Bud Light. We're a Coors Light place. It was Coors Light's done a ton of Pride stuff before, and then well, good thing I don't drink Bud Lights. I drink Michelob Ultra. The money's going to the same place. Anyways, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to get on that tangent. It just that still irks me that whole thing happened, and one trans influencer made
one partnership. I know.
Don't you guys realize that billionaires are trying to literally take every fucking dime you have? Who am I talking to? Nobody. Our listener base knows. This is the next story, which also kind of pisses me off.
Speaking of money, it's all about the money. From theguardian.com. If you've ever had a mild interest in luxury handbags, you've likely heard of the Chanel Classic Flat Bag or the Hermes Birkin. But you've perhaps not heard of the microscopic handbag by MSCHF.
Less than 0.03 inches wide. This is a teensy tiny microscopic handbag made by New York based art collective Mischief. And it's so small that the human eye can hardly see it when it's on top of a fingertip.
But at auction last week, it sold, for drumroll please, $60,000.
That's crazy.
It's neon green. It's made via a 3D printer using two phantom polymerization printing methods. Don't check me on that. But it's modeled after the Louis Vuitton famed On the Go tote. It is viewable through a microscope as well. But if you...
A microscope.
A microscope.
Yeah,
I'll
sorry.
insert that later.
I'm a major big scientist, so had to make sure I corrected you on that.
Of course, I forget how into science Cass is, but
Mhm.
if you look through it through the microscope, you can see that there's a tiny LV monogram on the bag's face. So, yeah. So Mischief is also known for if you've seen the giant red boots that make you look like your cartoon Mario boot. Yes. So they are the creative director. They are the creative house behind those. They typically make things that are kind of aloof and satirical and take they take the piss, if you will. Pharrell Williams is the, notable rapper, producer, happy singer. He's currently Louis Vuitton's creative director of menswear, and he was not contacted by Mischief when they created the bag in the brand's likeness, according to the New York Times. So, ooh. Damn.
I mean, does it matter?
I mean, it was because the auction house was the people that put the auction up. I should have made this clear earlier. The auction house was Jupiter, which was founded by Pharrell Williams himself. So the online auction house founded by Pharrell. He's now the creative director for Louis Vuitton, which they use the LV, which is trademarked, and it's all connected.
They said Pharrell loves big hats, so we made him an incredibly small bag. When they were talking about, they said as a once functional object, like a handbag, it becomes smaller and smaller. Its object status becomes steadily more abstracted until it is purely a brand signifier. Previous small leather handbags have still required a hand to carry them. They become dysfunctional inconveniences to their wearer. Microscopic handbag takes this to its full logical conclusion. A practical object is boiled down into jewelry, all of its purative function evaporated. For luxury objects, usability is the angle's share. So basically, you're making the bags smaller so that they don't even carry anything. Well, we're going to make the smallest one of all.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of carrying things, and I try to, when I go to concerts, I really try to travel light. I really trim it down. I might have just a fanny pack or a small purse. And a lot of venues are moving to clear bags or tiny bags or no bags. And I'm just so curious what the conditions are for the singer Pink's concerts and how people are handing her all these things.
Yeah. So from the NewYorkPost.com or just anywhere on the internet, you might have seen that the singer Pink, I'm coming out, so you better get this party started, perhaps, or just like a pill, instead of making me better, you're making me ill. Those are super old Pink songs. I think that's from her first album, and that's all that came to mind. Anyways, that lady, she's been recently gifted a wheel of cheese at a concert. Someone just handed her. And this isn't just your average store-bought wheel of brie cheese. This was the size of a bike wheel.
Yes.
It was huge. That was an expensive piece of cheese.
Very. Yeah, people, she's 43. She's on her summer carnival tour. If you haven't seen videos of her performing, it's like a full circus show. She is up on the rigs, she is doing flips.
Yeah.
She's flying at these shows. And so when she's actually on the ground, people are handing her some of the weirdest items. Recently, someone threw a clear plastic bag with a powder-like substance, which turned out to be their dead mother's ashes.
Yeah, there's a video of it, and she's like, "Is this your mom?" And then, I don't know, the crowd starts yelling, and she's like, "I don't know how to feel about this." And so she just places the ashes on the edge of the stage. And people, rightfully so, on Twitter are coming out with the right things. One of them, I feel is how I would feel. Someone says, y'all need to handle on your parasocial relationships because she doesn't know you. What were you thinking? Now your mom's ashes are going to end up in the trash because you wanted to get noticed by Pink.
Yeah. It's fucking people throwing cell phones, shoes, cheese at performers. Again, we cut the story about BB Rexa having a cell phone thrown at her last week. Multiple artists are having this kind of shit, and now people are handing dead ashes to Pink.
It's really weird.
I don't understand this. I hate to always circle back because it feels like my big grand conspiracy, but people have always said odd behavior. I get it, but I think long COVID is really eking into certain people's brains and like breaking the social contracts of like normalcy in so many ways. And like, yes, can like appropriate behavior be lauded in like classism and deep racism? Of course, but like a singing performer dancing a wheel of giant brie, you fucked for that one, mate. Like absolute madman. Like that's crazy.
You're right. How did they get that brie in there? And then
yes, I've stuck a bottle of wine down my shirt before into a concert, which was no small feat. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And then drank it in the bathroom like a normal person. I didn't like bust it out on the floor.
No.
By normal person, I mean like 23-year-old. Like I've learned my lesson. Like I'll pay for my drinks now. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
I think too, the people who are reacting to this stuff, because like a lot of these people who are getting caught doing these things are all like pretty young, a generation of kids who have never not had the internet. Mm-hmm. So you and I, although not much of our lives, did definitely have some formative and like I remember them kind of years where there was no internet.
Yeah.
Or ladies. And so we hear that and we're like, are you guys okay? But I think that social media and the internet has given people like a weird sense of ownership over other people and like the people they're obsessed with. And they are kind of like the lines between celebrity and stuff are blurred. You're not remembering that Pink is a real person.
She's just a mum.
You don't own her. She doesn't owe you anything. Same with, the person who threw a phone at Bebe Rexha. Like that's crazy. And you think you're just doing it like because you think it's funny or something like that. Everyone's acting like tiny kings, like throwing tomatoes at jesters. Yeah. Like what is so I do think that the internet has something to do with it. And speaking of the internet and people getting weird, from the avclub.com, we're going to talk about what is going on with Colleen Ballinger of Miranda Sings fame, which I'm not going to lie to you guys, I do not know who this person is.
I'm CO. I'm diagnosed CO, which is chronically online. So I have a deep current of knowledge. And sometimes I dabble in things I don't know anything about, but become an expert, as we've talked about earlier. I've always heard like Miranda Sings. I knew that was like some YouTube character. She launched her YouTube famedom off this character, Miranda Sings, into mainstream success, like one of the first YouTubers to make the leap of, she had a Netflix show called Haters Back Off, but she turns out is a fucking lunatic and has had inappropriate relationships and her videos are mostly aimed at children. The show is made for children, essentially. And she's had horrific interactions and even grooming accusations come out about how she would ask about her divorce, what's your favorite sexual position, with, again, children in like their group chats and all sorts of crazy stuff. And then the thing we're really talking about is that she made a video, a 10-minute long response video
to apologize
for this perceived inappropriate behavior.
Well, allegedly, we think it is presented to be an apology of people being like, you groomed children and all these allegations are coming out. And so this is her, like,
I've been watching the videos of her accusers of saying like the behavior she had with like text messages, stamped receipts, all of these things. And she did a 10-minute video where she said her team advised her not to say anything about these accusations. And you're like,
always
okay,
a bad
good.
start.
So
always a bad start.
Always a bad start. She's like, my team has advised me not to say anything. She said, but they didn't say I couldn't sing it, and then proceeded to bring out a ukulele and do a song about the toxic gossip train that's been going on about her.
Yeah, it's pretty cringe. I haven't watched it. It came up with my TikTok feed. And like someone was like, I'm going to watch this live and give you my live reaction. And I was like, I don't want to watch this because I don't want this to like get into my algorithm, but I was curious. And then so when you brought it up, I was like, oof, apparently this is a big deal. But it is, now that I like know more about the accusations, this is like, if Louis C.K.'s like a weird apology letter that he put out, if he would have picked up a ukulele and did it like this instead. Or like when Kevin Spacey did that whole like
talk to camera directly Christmas addresses.
Yeah, like in character from his House of Cards character. And you're like, bro, this is not,
this ain't
this
it.
isn't working.
Yeah, she would, like the youth would eventually help her. Some of them would run like Twitter fan accounts and join her like inner circle where she was directly communicating with them, like a group text. And she's only left that group text in the last like week or two after. So like in 2020, a YouTuber made a video basically sharing his negative experience with her. About a month ago, there was someone that came out with a video basically being like, I'm so sorry I mocked you at the time, but here's my account with her. And I've been watching a lot of these videos come out slowly. So this has been brewing, but last week is when she did this ukulele apology video, which is bad. The whole thing. And she calls it basically that basically it's easier to tear somebody down and get on this toxic gossip train, et cetera, et cetera. I have I could do a dramatic reading of some of the lines if you would permit me the audio. I don't know if you are up for that, Cassandra, but
I mean, I don't think I can say no.
Okay.
So
okay. I have the transcript right here of said, just a little bit. I'll just play a little bit, So she starts off and she's going to talk about it, right? And so she says, hey, it's been a while since you saw my face. I haven't been doing so great. So I took a little break. Like a lot of people were saying some things about me that aren't quite true. If it doesn't matter if it's true though, as long as it's entertaining to you, right? You guys having fun? All aboard the toxic gossip train. I'm not a singer, but this is her cadence.
I was going to say, you said a dramatic reading and it sounds like you're performing it.
All right, here we go. All right, here we go. Chatter down the tracks of misinformation, the toxic gossip train. You got a one-way ticket to manipulation station, the toxic gossip train. For me, the train tracks and harass me for my past because rumors look like facts. If you don't mind the gigs that you don't survive in the crash, but hey, at least you're having fun. So that's basically the thing she was saying was like, oh, this is just gossip and rumors.
So and she didn't apologize. She didn't acknowledge shit. She just said, this is all fake. Here's a song about it.
Yeah. She like body shamed, sexualized children on stage at some of her live shows. She was insanely toxic on her Netflix show. I've read multiple accounts from staff members that said what a environment she would cultivate and just the character itself. Again, I'm not familiar with and it wasn't growing up with, but having seen the clips and things like that, this is very ableist. There's a big joke about her uncle being a creepy molester. Like it's really gross. And even at one point in the video, she really does like an eating disorder body check of like, she kind of turns sideways to show like how thin she is as a part of like the lyrics. Yikes. Shane Dawson's probably very excited she's fucked up this big and is like, at least it's not on me right now. That's all I can say. It's I would say don't watch it. If you can watch somebody reacting to it, don't give her the views because it's 10 minutes long, which means the video's monetized. She's making money every time somebody views it on her page.
I don't know who Shane Dawson is, so I think it's time that we stop talking about YouTube.
Yep. I went deep YouTube. I'm sorry, gang. Sorry. But you know what, Cass? I think it's time for another break.
Okay, fine.
Erica, do you have any concerts coming up?
Always. I'm a festival girly, I have to get the VIP though, because I cannot go without an air-conditioned bathroom.
Okay, well, my sweet angel, planning for faster and efficient hydration is also essential for festivals. And Liquid IV has you covered while you prep before, power through that headliner, and recover after the weekend.
Hey, now don't count yourself out while you're drunk poolside all summer, Cass. Liquid IV hydrates 2 times faster than water and with 3 times the electrolytes than traditional sports drinks.
I mean, we really have no excuses. Liquid IV is actually standard in my purse. It goes phone, wallet, keys, Liquid IV.
And with flavors like lemon lime, pasty, that's French for watermelon, and my favorite, strawberry lemonade, staying hydrated is easy peasy.
Mama, I'm talking B3. I'm talking B5. I'm talking B6. And I'm screaming from the rooftops, B12.
They've got all the B's.
And there's a little bit of vitamin C in there too, just for kicks.
Oh, she's made from premium ingredients and is free from gluten, dairy, and soy.
Oh, thank God. Yeah, I'm vegan now. I don't know if I've talked about that yet.
We know. Okay. Get 20% off when you go to liquidiv.com and use code TRASHY at checkout.
That's 20% off of anything you order when you shop Better Hydration today using promo code TRASHY at liquidiv.com.
Honestly, we're so trashy, we're hydrated.
Wet trash. And we're back.
We're back. Hey, Cass.
What's up?
How, it's almost America's birthday.
Uh-huh.
So I got a pretty big, it's really like a dumpster firework. Fireworks of dumpster. How would we phrase that? It's guys, it's time. It's time for the dumpster fire of the week.
Oh my God.
But this is really, fireworks are shooting out of the dumpster this time.
Dun, 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 dun.
We're going to talk about the 4th of July, Independence Day in America. And basically everything we know about it is a lie. Also, everyone was drunk. It smelled bad. And there were a lot of flies. So
we're pulling from a lot of sources, but I think first and foremost, we'll just talk about the fact that America's independence was not decided on the 4th of July. It was actually voted on and decided on July 2nd.
Dates are off. If you think you know who signed it, if you think you know where it was, buckle up, motherfuckers. No, I'm just, So
the July 2nd thing is wild because it's like John Adams literally said in a letter to his wife, July 2nd is going to be a day that future Americans celebrate. It's like, how did that get screwed up?
Great question. I'm not sure of the science behind it, but
well, it says in the article how it got
screwed up. It says in the article. That's what I'm saying. It's like, I don't know, but like, let's find out.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you were like, I didn't read the article.
No.
You tell me.
Yeah, there was a skip, Constitutional Congress, the guy named Ellis, there was a resolution on May 15th that was the real Declaration of Independence. Jefferson's more famous declaration 6 weeks later was a mere kind of ceremonial afterthought. And George Washington issued his own important declaration on July 2nd without knowing what was happening in Philadelphia. So he was over here. Constitutional Congress was over there.
Some shit was happening in May.
Yeah. So the Continental Congress approved the Declaration of Independence. It was mostly written by Thomas Jefferson, but had edits by other members of this 5-man team, which were Benjamin Franklin, Robert Livingston, John Adams, and Roger Sherman, as well as the rest of the full Continental Congress, which was like one of our governing boards prior to the Declaration. Blah, blah, blah. Look it up. Yeah, it was a whole presidents before presidents. But anyway, so he kept working on it. Franklin was supposed to do it and just kind of like kept fucking up, probably because he was drunk and like fucking a bunch of whores and like inventing cool things. So eventually the job fell to Thomas Jefferson and he finished the first draft on the 3rd week of June. And although we didn't celebrate independence until July 8th, when Philadelphia just threw a big old party. Crazy, fun.
So
go ahead.
July 2nd, no. Now you're telling me July 8th.
Well, most of the delegates didn't even sign it until August 2nd, though.
So now August 2nd.
So they made a clean copy that was finally produced by Timothy Matlock, an assistant to the Secretary of the Congress, and some waited even later. And so some of names on the documents weren't even publicly seen until January of 1777. What's going on?
We have July 4th, it sounds like, only because Jefferson and Adams, they just said it happened on July 4th. And that's it. But like so far, nothing actually happened on July 4th. They just were like, I don't know, pick a day in the middle.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of like what it is, I guess.
Nothing's more American than 2 white men declaring something happened and everyone just like, okay. It's the principle of which our country was founded on. George Washington was leading the army in New York at the time. He didn't get the news until July 9th and then celebrated on that day. Georgia got the word on August 10th. The British in London didn't find out until August 30th. So, wow. bunch of hullabaloo.
Sounds like a bunch of drunks.
Speaking of a bunch of drunks, George Washington himself ran up an almost $18,000 in today's money bar tab in 2 days before signing the Constitution.
You want to know what's up about inflation? The final bill was like 89 pounds and 4 shillings. But back then, like that, yeah, it's equivalent to almost $18,000. So that's that. And they must have just drank all of the alcohol in the state, except turns out they had a ton of it. And they drank all the time. They were wasted.
So the party was 55 guests, which was troops, politicians, friends, and family. And 16 more people were working. So musicians, servers, hosts, et cetera. And the receipt was saved in the 1st Troop Cavalry archives. And the tab was, drumroll please, 54 bottles of Madeira wine, 60 bottles of Bordeaux wine, 8 bottles of old stock whiskey, 22 bottles of porter ale, 8 bottles of hard cider, 12 jugs of beer, 7 large bowls of punch, because somebody's got to drive the horses. The staff.
You think that punch wasn't spiked?
Well, it doesn't say with rum, which was rum. We'll get into rum in a minute. Basically, the staff and the musicians also drank 16 bottles of wine, 21 bottles of wine and 7 bowls of punch themselves. Well, the bill also included, money for the broken glasses.
Yeah, of course.
They broke throughout the night.
All of our founding fathers liked a good stiff drink. And we actually learn in this article that the ancient Persians allegedly debated important decisions once when drunk and once when sober in order to see the issue from all angles, which I kind of think is brilliant.
Most of mine start off drunk, and then in the morning I have to have the conversation sober.
I feel like the conversations start sober and then and then we're getting drunk as we go. And the idea usually like blows up and gets way bigger than it ever would have. But all of those founding fathers, they loved it. There's a famous example of this decision-making process at work in America is the Boston Tea Party, where Paul Revere, Sam Adams, and the other members of the Sons of Liberty met at the Green Dragon Tavern in Boston to toss a few back and plan an act of civil unrest.
Yep. And
just after a few pints in, it really started as creep onto a couple tea ships and block the ship workers, and then became, nah, let's just really screw stuff up. Let's destroy everything, whatever. And then the Paul Revere guy, the very famous moment of the revolution of like, the British are coming. That
didn't happen really, because probably not, because at this time, like, we thought we were British still. So he would have been like, we're coming, he wouldn't have said that. He did, there was the ride or whatever, but he wouldn't have said the British are coming. Just FYI. It's something I learned the other day, because at this time we were still British colonies. So we considered ourselves British at the time.
Semantics. Anyway.
It's a better poem. Yeah.
Paul Revere, on his way to warn people, however he did it on his horse, he'd stopped twice to get a couple drinks on the way. Now, do we know that for sure? No. I'd have to talk to a time traveler to know, but the point is that it was more common back then for Americans to be drunk than to be sober. This is quoting from 2013, where I'm sure that this number is a little bit higher now, but in 2013, the average amount of alcohol consumed by Americans in a year is 2.34 gallons per person. And in 1830, that number was 7.1 gallons per person. People were Don Draper drunk.
Yeah.
All day, but they also worked on farms and
they would get up
stuff that sucked.
They would be like, oh, you got a little bit of a cough, better have some rum, rub some whiskey on your gums. Like they thought it helped with strength, made the body warm, which it does, but it's false, cured illness, all sorts of stuff.
And their water was no good to drink.
No, it was horse piss basically.
So they just didn't have a choice. It was kind of like, get sick from the water or go for the preferred beverage of Americans at the time, which is rum, although rum, considered a British beverage after the revolution, the Britain restricted the Navy or like the cane sugar, and they said, no, you can't have any rum. So then Americans were like, all right, well, we're going to switch to bourbon. And George Washington even opened his own distillery, hipster George Washington.
Yeah. I would like to see George and the brewmaster when he just rolls. He's got one sleeve of tattoos and the other side's clean. He's got a large, trim cut beard. He's wearing vintage clothing. I would sure really like to see
a t-shirt like that exists next to a t-shirt of Marilyn Monroe with a neck tattoo.
Yeah. So one person famously wrote, if I take a settler after my coffee, a cooler at 9, a bracer at 10, a wetter at 11, and 2 or 3 stiffeners during the afternoon, who has any right to complain? I just drink a little as I start my day. Just drink a little throughout. So, God, so American. So American.
Got to get to the last part of this. Yeah. Speaking of being so American, we celebrate the 4th of July because of horseflies.
Yep. We were in a bit of a hurry. Very American. We need to hurry this shit up.
Got to get back to work.
Got to get back. Yeah, that's. Yeah. Basically, when the Continental Congress was meeting on July 4th, which we, debatable the days as we've already talked about.
Who knows what day it was?
Who knows? It was very hot in Philadelphia. So they settled in for a long day of arguing and, trying to finalize the version of the draft of the independence document in a humid, sticky room. Tempers are high. Everyone was drunk, probably. Someone opened a window to let in a breeze. But as they were down the street from a stable, what actually came into the Congress room was blood-sucking horseflies. So basically, Jefferson was like, I'm in a hurry because this sucks. I'm sure that there was much more that they could have laid out in the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution.
They should have put an expiration date. No, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of the Constitution.
Yeah. But they were basically like, we got to hurry this stuff up because we're covered in flies.
Apparently a horsefly, this is just, they describe their mouths. They're basically like scissors and a sponge. They'll slash you and then drink your blood. And it's super painful. So that's gnarly. Again, I know we're not talking about the Constitution, but we need to keep these things in mind when we use that document and that literature as gospel.
Yeah.
That a lot of it was being written by like super drunk slave owners who were getting bit by horseflies. I'm just
omitting a lot of stuff was probably advantageous to them because like, all right, we got to finish. We got to get the hell out of here rather than doing a good job for everyone and for the future.
And also, how could they tell? They weren't fortune tellers. They were drunk farmers. So anyways, all that is to say, happy Independence Day to you, USA. I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free, all that stuff, all of it.
Back to back World War champs.
We are the champions, my friend.
Korea, and then we lost like Vietnam, and then we like lost Iraq.
I don't know what you're talking about. Pretty sure we don't lose wars. Erica, what are you hoarding?
I'm hoarding a new show. It's on Apple Plus. It's called Blackbird.
Okay.
It's really delightful in a true crimey way. So it's set in the 90s. Taron Egerton plays a drug dealer, kind of smooth talker, cool guy. He gets sent to jail for, drug running and guns and whatnot. And there's a serial killer that if he can befriend the serial killer and elicit a confession from him, he could get time knocked off his sentence. And the serial killer is played by the man who played Richard Jewell in that movie about the Boston bombing, the Boston Marathon. Anyway, I can't remember his name. He's a wonderful actor, but he talks like this sometimes and it's kind of scary because he's like he's just wonderful. He's a very scary, perfectly cast, like
Ray Liotta.
Ray Liotta plays Taron Egerton's dad, the serial killer. I just can't think of his name,
Paul
but he's really
Walter
great.
Hauser?
Yes, Paul Walter Hauser. Yes.
Got it.
Anyway, yeah, it's really delightful. Like in that, I mean, it's not like funny or it's very like, ooh, what's gonna happen? I'm excited. Like, ooh. So it's really good. It might be based on a true story. I could just be making that up. Who knows? But it's just really well done. I really like it. It's called Blackbird, and it was one of Ray Liotta's last projects. So and he's really great in it. So, my boy.
Is Ray Liotta dead?
Yeah, he passed.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh my God, like last year.
Yeah.
Okay. Wild. R.I.P.
Yeah. Anyway, what are you hoarding?
Party games. I think they're fun. They're fun. And if you do them correctly, they're not like a complete party stopper, because sometimes they can feel like a party stopper.
Yeah.
But if you do them right, they're super fun. And
yeah.
I like a party game, I mean, we're adults, and sure, we can go to parties and drink and chat and eat, but throw a game in there. Why not?
Yeah.
That's all. What are you throwing out?
Well, my favorite party game in college was called Get Too Drunk and Then Start Crying for Attention. And I'm just going to be honest, I won every single time. Every time. So
maybe this makes me trashy, but I still love drinking games.
I do too.
I think they're fun. I know that everyone gets like wasted, like now more than ever, because like we're older. I feel like I'll present a drinking game of like, hey, like for the 4th of July, we're gonna like watch Independence Day and do a drinking game.
We do that. Yeah, it's fun. Yeah.
And like, I feel like whenever I present drinking games to people, everyone's down always. But some people are like, oh, I guess it's going to be that kind of night. Or they'll say some like shit like that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, your 23-year-old self would have smacked you in the face right now for saying something like that. Like, I didn't even know you when you were 23, but I know that 23-year-old you would be so annoyed at 34-year-old you saying, oh, wow, God, I guess we're getting crazy. Like, drinking games are fun, okay?
Fun.
Unless you have problems with alcohol, in which case I'm sorry. But like, if you don't, drinking games are still fun. I like, it's know thyself. If you need to pace yourself, but it's still it's engaging. I'm talking about party games, but I'm hoarding drinking games too. Anyways, what are you throwing out?
I'm throwing out the Supreme Court of the United States of America.
Yeah. At least 6 of them.
Definitely 6 of them. At least 6 of them. Yeah. It's basically they can just be bribed and millionaires can keep them in their good graces and give them gifts that they don't have to report. And then they get to make decisions about my life. And they're there for a lifetime. It's
bad news. It's definitely bad news.
Yeah. It's no good. No good. The things that they've overturned and taken away and ruled on, it's truly insane right now. And anyway, throwing them out. I'm done. What about you?
Off Citronella candles.
Oh,
this brand is off, like off,
Oh, okay.
They make candles, right?
Yeah.
The Citronella candles. I mean, if you know, you know. If you know, you can probably smell it, like just by hearing the name.
Yep.
But they're candles. We went to like go and buy something like that, to utilize our outdoor space.
Sure.
And it says right on the box, is not for use against mosquitoes.
But what?
I'm like, wait. So what are you for? Because like originally this was for mosquitoes. I guess maybe mosquitoes are too like brutal now that they can't continue to claim that they do anything against mosquito.
Yeah.
If that's not some like capitalism bullshit of like selling like a plate of people around a candles, like having like a villainous mosquito on your like logo or whatever. Like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
I guess I got this candle that stinks and keeps bees away at night. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Damn, dude. That's a bummer because, you'd like for that to keep the mosquitoes away.
They had this other one at Costco that was like a little lantern type thing. And it has like the UV light that the mosquitoes are attracted to. Mm-hmm. And then a fan that when the mosquitoes go to the light, the fan sucks them up and suffocates them. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, whoa, they have the most brutal shit out there to get rid of mosquitoes. It feels so dark. And all I wanted was just like, maybe just a nice candle. We got this like little like orb thing that puts out a scent-free repellent. Mm-hmm. I'll let you know if it works. Okay. Well, you're coming over. You'll let me know if it works.
Yeah. Wild, man. Well, where can the people find you covered in mosquitoes?
Trashy podcast every Monday, of course. And I will be on the Nooner podcast. Not, if you're listening to this on Monday, not tomorrow, but next week. I will be on the Nooner podcast.
Okay. Sounds great.
Where can the people find you?
At Iconic Erica Curry on Instagram, TikTok. Don't find me on Twitter. I'm done. You can find me in the ocean slipping like shivs to orcas. I'll be making homemade knives to help, the resistance army that are the orcas right now, doing the Lord's work, taking down the ships of destruction. And that's about it. You can find this podcast though at Trashy Pod on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, all the places. You can find us at our website, which is trashypodcast.com, which has links to our merch stores, ways to listen to the podcast, ways to get in contact with us through social media. You can email us in your stories or tell us why you're trash. We always love hearing it. And you can find our merch store at trashypodcast.threadless.com, where we will have shirts and ways for you to support the podcast. You can use code trashy at liquidiv.com for 20% off, and you can find us every Monday. Thank you so much for leaving reviews, telling a friend, sharing messages and memes with us on social media. It really does mean the most. We love it so much. And we will be back next week. Hey, Cass.
Oh, what's going on, girl?
Stay garbage.
You say garbage. USA.
USA.
USA.